Okay, so welcome to the Unstoppable Player Level 2 program. So this is the 90-day game plan that we're starting with. So there are two types of goals that are going to help you become unstoppable. Number one, outcome goals. Number two, process and performance goals. I'll explain a little bit more about what they are in a second. So let's start with the outcome goals. Go for what you want. Okay, so the idea with outcome goals is that we might not achieve these outcomes. They may be partly down to what other people do or other people's opinions, outside influences like the weather and opponents and so on. But that doesn't mean we shouldn't go for what we want. Okay, so basically an outcome is an achievement, something that you do or you don't do. So it's black and white. And the good thing with that is you will know at the end of 90 days whether you've achieved something or not. As it says there, it's not about the outcome really, it's about the person you become. But it's always good to go for things. Just like it's always good to strive to win in a game. We want to win. It doesn't mean it's the absolute end of the world if we lose, but we want to go for it. We want to win. We like the taste of success and winning. And this is one of the types of goals that we've got. There are other types of goals as well. Okay, so let's move on. We start with 90-day outcome goal. You're going to be very clear in there. You're going to write in using SMART principles. So SMART, if you haven't heard it before, is, or if you have, a quick reminder. S stands for specific. Be specific. So what exactly do you want? What, where, when, with who. And then the M stands for measurable. So it needs to be something that you can say, I've done it or I haven't done it. The A stands for achievable. So it needs to be a stretch for you. Otherwise, there's no point in going for this goal. If you're already at the level that you're setting, then there's no point in setting it. So it needs to move you forward, but it needs to be within your reach. Okay, so that's the A. The R is recorded. Well, that's what you're going to do. You're going to print this out, and you're going to fill it in by pen. And the reason why you need to write your goals in is the power of engaging your body and your unconscious mind in this process, as opposed to just saying it and then forgetting about it. Okay, by writing it down, you will be fully engaging your whole being in the process of programming yourself for success. Okay, so that's the recorded, and then the T stands for timed. So this is where here you're going to write in the date that it's going to be completed by. So it's like a deadline. Okay, so again, having deadlines is good in goal setting because it sharpens our focus. It's one of the reasons why we've gone for 90 days as a period of training for this program, because it's long enough to get breakthroughs, and it's short enough for you to have urgency and focus in going after what you want. So the next two bits to fill in are your milestones. The idea being, we don't want to get to 90 days and realize you've been off track most of the way through, right? So we want to know at 30 days and we want to know at 60 days whether you're on track or off track. So let's take an example here. Okay, you've got a goal of getting into a pro club, so you would write that in here, right? So you would say, and by the way, it's good to write goals in the present tense. All right, so let's say you want to be selected for a trial with a pro club, right? So you would write in, I have been selected for Swansea City Football Club's academy. Now you notice I put in the specific name of the club that I want to be selected by. Now, if another club comes calling and offers you a trial or a position within their academy, then you know, and Swansea don't, then happy days. You know, I'm sure you wouldn't turn it down. But it's important to be specific with the club, you know, and yeah, that's just very important to be specific. Okay, so I've been selected, so that's specific. It's also measurable. You either have or you haven't. Okay, it's for you to decide, and I can discuss with you if I've seen you play, whether it's achievable at the moment or not. And obviously it's been recorded here, and then you put in the time. So it's as simple as that, right? I've been selected for Swansea City Football Club's academy team or academy squad. Okay, so what would be one step back from that? That would be a benchmark to say we're on track. Okay, well, what about if we say that the straightforward answer is to be invited for a trial. Most clubs in the UK offer a 6-week trial. In fact, that's what they're bound by the academy rules to offer. Right, so I've been invited in for a 6-week trial. Sometimes they invite you in for a couple of weeks just to have a look at you and see if you're worth a 6-week trial, but you know, we'll use that as a milestone there. And then a 30-day outcome would be standing out. Standing out for my current team consistently. So as I always say to the players I work with, when the topic of getting scouted comes up, I say you're always being watched. Just assume that there are scouts watching. If there aren't scouts watching, then someone who's watching will be asked by the scouts about you. And your job is to keep your performance as high as you can, as consistently as you can. Right, so there we go. So you can see how the milestones work and work towards the 90-day outcome there. And you put the date in. So the date would be, let's say, so we start in on the 18th. So that is the, what's that? 18th of March, April, May. So 18th of 5th, 2020. And then a month back from that would be the 18th of the 4th, 2020. And the month benchmark would be 18th of the 3rd, 2020. Okay, let's move on. So, why do you want this goal? Why do I want this goal? How will things be different or better now that I've got the goal? What will I be able to do, be, or have that I couldn't do, be, or have before I had the goal? So we need to put ourselves in the position of already having achieved the goal. Right, so you might find it useful to close your eyes doing this. And just notice what's better. What's so good about having this goal? You know, we don't want to climb the ladder of success to realize it's going up against the wrong wall, as Stephen Covey said. Right? So we want to know that what we're aiming for is something really worthwhile for us. So write that in there. Okay? And I'm not going to write it because I don't want to put words in your mouth. But make it emotional, make it descriptive. You know, paint the picture of how your life is different. What's so great about it? Be specific. Okay? What are you able to do? What are people saying? What are you saying to yourself when you've achieved this goal? Okay, next bit. How can you make sure this goal happens? So this is where you start to hold yourself accountable and make it very difficult not to achieve the goal. So as it says there, in brackets, you burn the ships. So I don't know if you've ever heard the story of how the Vikings conquered new territory. They would land in a ship, and as they were getting off the ship, or the boat, the longboats, whatever they were using, they would burn the ships. And the reason why they would burn the ships is because they wanted to have no way out. They had to go and conquer that new land. They had to fight and they had to win. Okay, so that's the sort of attitude that really sets you up for success. There's different ways of going about that. As an example, someone who wanted to lose weight would make sure that there is no junk food, sugary foods, processed foods in the house. So when they go in shopping, no junk food allowed. Okay, or you might say, I'll have one what they call cheat day. Yeah. Other people might say, I'm going to announce this on Facebook or Instagram. I'm going to announce it amongst my friends, my family, so that I'm holding myself accountable to them. It may be that you don't want to do it so publicly, but someone you trust, someone you look up to, someone you have a good relationship with is a bit of a mentor. Okay, you ask them to hold you accountable. Now, the beauty of this program is I can be that person for you, and you can, use the group that by the time you're watching this will be set up for you. Okay, and you can post up your goals there in a video form or in written form. Okay. Who is responsible for the goal? Well, there's only one or two answers for that. Either it's you or it's someone else. And I'm wondering if you can guess who are the most successful people at achieving goals. Is it the people who accept full responsibility for their goal, or is it people who put a lot of responsibility on others and not much on themselves? Interesting question. Let's see what you come up with. Okay, how can you make sure this goal happens? I think we've already put that one in. Who's responsible for the goal? Yeah, so that's just a question that's repeated. Don't worry about that. Okay, write down the different steps you can take to achieve the goal, including help you may need from others, right? So let's say, for example, your goal, if you go back to the original example of getting into a pro academy, you've got friends already signed by pro academies. You go to them and ask them for advice. How did you do it? Okay. You schedule in extra practice. You write down the things that you think are stopping you at the moment. That's going to be below. But there's extra practice you're going to put in key areas. So speaking to your coach about the things that he or she feels could make the difference for you. Okay. So I've given away one of the questions already here. What's stopping you from achieving your goals? Get really clear on any internal or external barriers now. So an internal barrier might be a limiting belief. I just don't know if I can do it. I don't believe I can do it. Right? Or it may be an external barrier. You've got people knocking you saying, not everybody makes it, and I don't want you to be let down. So don't build yourself up. Don't get your hopes up. Or it may be people just saying you're not good enough. Okay. Or it may be you don't know how to get there. You don't know what the steps are. Well, I've given you 3 stepping stones as the example there. Right. Then you're going to look at how you will remove, go around, or even take advantage of these barriers. Okay. So you're going to look at that. Now again, you can ask for help on the group with these. How can I go around? How can I remove or even take advantage? Sometimes a barrier turns into an advantage, right? So let's say, for example, Messi, right? Now, if Messi was born in the UK, he would have been told by some, I would guess, that he was too small. And even his coaches, when he grew up in Argentina, they knew at one point he was too small. He had to have special treatment, medical treatments, and all sorts. But he turned his disadvantage, his barrier, which was size, into an advantage. So smaller players have a lower centre of gravity, they have more balance. So his whole game was based around being amazing with the ball, dribbling, and being a player that was very difficult to stop. Okay, so he didn't try and win every header. He didn't try and, base his game around defending. He based his game around attack. Now, he does defend very well. He does work very hard off the ball as well. But he built around his strengths, and, the things that were potentially holding him back became an advantage for him. Okay. So you've got to look at how you can do that yourself. Right, next bit. P&P goals. Right, performance goals, first of all. Performance goals are specific and measurable things, things, you do during games to help your team win. Okay, number of goals scored, crosses, assists, tackles, blocks, interceptions, headers won, pass completion rate, number of successful dribbles in the attacking third. So, it's basically stats on how well you're doing, right? Then we've got process goals. So this is where you get down to the nitty-gritty of seeing how you can improve. Process goals are things you can practice or spend time on to get better in a certain area. Okay? So, let's have a look at the process here. It's exactly the same process for the 5 areas of the game, starting with your inner game. Alright? So we've got your inner game, and then we've got some examples of how you can do that. So let's say you have a fear of talking in front of groups, or public speaking as it's called. Then you might actually create a video series or even give a presentation about inner game, about confidence, for example. Okay? You might have a boxing match to conquer a fear of physical contact. If you're afraid of getting hurt in tackles, or just afraid of getting hit in a contact sport. I know football's not full contact, I guess, like rugby, but it's, there's a certain level of contact in it, especially with the tackle area. So you could have a boxing match or do some other form of martial arts. You could do something audacious, something outrageous. All right, so you could aim to score a bicycle kick, score a goal from outside the box, or even your own half, depending on what size of the pitch you're on. You can meditate, learn to meditate, learn self-hypnosis, do affirmations. So you'll learn about affirmations in the program. So things that are actually gonna help you every day to be confident. So you might do that, say for example, over the 90 days. You might do something every day. Okay. Let's say it was a boxing match. You would perhaps join a boxing gym, go once or twice, 3 times a week maybe, depending on how committed you want to be, and and then you would have a boxing match at the end of it, right? So there could be some things you're going to do every day. There could be some things that you're going to do a certain number of times a week and then finish with an event at the end of it. Okay. It's totally up to you. So you're going to set your 90-day inner game goal, and in the same way, you're going to set a 60-day milestone. You're going to work backwards from that, and then a 30-day. So let's take another example there, the boxing match. So the boxing match is what you finish with. You set the date. Okay. 60 days might be, okay, I have a certain number of sparring sessions. So we don't know what sparring is. Sparring is basically you're getting in the ring, you are having practice fights. Okay. Now, most good trainers are not just going to throw you in the ring, although they did that when I was a kid, and just, we were hitting lumps out of each other. Most good trainers these days are going to make sure that you know what you're doing. First, they're going to teach you how to defend, they're going to teach you how to hit. So you'll do work on the bags, on the pads, fitness, and so on. So that might be your target for 30 days, is just to do a certain number of training sessions with a good trainer. Okay. So again, you go through the other questions. Why do you want the goal? How can you make sure this goal happens? Who's responsible for the goal? Okay. Write down the different steps. What's stopping you from achieving your goals? How will you remove those barriers? You've got the same then for your body fitness goals, right? As it says here, the player can only be as good as the athlete that they are, especially in the modern game, right? So some examples with this, a fitness competition. You could enter a fitness competition. You could aim to lift a certain weight with, a squat or a deadlift or, a bench press. Probably for a footballer, I'm sure you'd agree, the leg exercises are going to be more important. So you might need to join a gym and get a personal trainer to actually help you, or someone who really knows, someone you know who really knows how to train, to help you learn how to do that. Okay. Again, another one might be to have a boxing match or a martial arts. I know this is a soccer program, but it's just a good example because you can build up to having a fight. Okay. Now you could do the same. Having extra five-a-side or futsal matches, for example. You could join a local five-a-side league and get extra games in that way. And work towards some sort of a competitive end. You complete a fitness circuit or a gym class a certain number of times per week. You don't have to focus on the actual fitness side of it. You could focus on the recovery side of it. So, that's what we're going to be getting into in the program. So, for example, having an Epsom salt bath after every training session or match, or even every day if you want to do it. Okay, so then you go through the same goal setting process. So by now, you'll be starting to get the hang of it. But your answers are going to be different probably. You got the same for ball skills, right? So examples of ball skills goals. Break your keep-up record, great for touch. Ball on the wall practices, skills challenges. We've got a skills challenge, that we're going to be going through on our level 1 program. So if you're on that live, you will get that. If you're not live, you can be sent a video on it. So mastering skills, specific skills. So you could do tricks around the world, flick-flack, Ronaldinho type moves, Maradona, Zidane, Cristiano Ronaldo, any top player, Messi. You could model those players and come up with, the moves that they make, and you can replicate those. Okay, through daily repetition. All right. Complete a certain number of technical sessions on one area. Control, passing, that should say dribbling, shooting, and so on. Okay, so that would mean you going out and actually practicing in one or two areas. Probably best to focus on one for the 90 days for that. Or you could focus on improving your stats within a game. Okay, how many shots on target, how many goals, pass completion rate, successful dribbles. All right. Same process. By the way, you can come up with your own. You don't have to follow these examples. You can come up with your own. I'm happy to check with you. Then we've got game understanding. Play in a different position to understand how the team functions. That's one example of improving your game understanding. Give a presentation on team strategies, tactics, or formations. Focus on improving decision making. Another one I haven't written down here. You could read a book on tactics and do a book summary or a book report. Improve variety and understanding of attacking runs. You could do the same for defensive play, focusing on improving decision making. You could do match analysis on televised games. So you can sit there with a notepad and pen and look at a certain individual player. You could look at the team, for example. What's the longest number of successful passes they've had? What areas of the field do they dribble more? What areas of the field do they pass more? As an example, right? And if you want help with that, I'm here to help you. You can record a number of your own games and do match analysis on that. I found that very powerful for players to go through. Again, go through the same goal setting process. Answer all the questions thoroughly. Team player, same thing. Okay. And that's it. So there is your 90-day game plan. Go through it. Take your time. You have got at least a week to fill this in. I want you to take your time. You know, do a little bit on it every day for a week, and you probably will get there fairly comfortably. Okay. The questions and boxes to fill in are there for a reason. They're there to design your focus. Like I say, tested and proven to work. So if there's a question there, if there's a box to fill in, it's there because it will really help you. Okay, so that's it. Great stuff. Looking forward to getting started with you on the program. Speak to you soon.